Hey there, fantasy owners. LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate the watch or listen no matter how you're streaming the episode. Before we get started, do want to mention we do have a partnership with 247clash.com. Link is in the description. It's a pools type player versus player fantasy style game. It's pretty much made winnable for anyone there. It's fun and easy to play. If you do go to www.247clash.com, at the top of the homepage you'll see a link on a how to play video. It's roughly just under a minute long, explains the game a little bit better for you. And if you do decide to sign up and make a deposit, do use referral code LTC, as that does help out our show behind the scenes there. And hopefully you'll start winning some cash. Do note, it is for Canadian residents only at this time. Might change in the future, but for right now, it's for Canadian residents only. Today's our Week 20 strategy episode, so we're going to look at this week's schedule, break it down, and suggest players to hopefully help strengthen your fantasy roster and help secure that win for you. Some things to note this week. 2-game teams are the Islanders, Philly, and Washington. Those three only have 2 games. Number of teams with 4 games, them being Arizona, Boston, Chicago, Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, Montreal, Ottawa, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Vegas. So quite a few there. And we also have a 5-game team this week, them being the Detroit Red Wings. They get the rare 5-game week. Had one a while back with Philly, but now it's Detroit's turn there. Light nights are your typical light nights. Monday, 5 games. Wednesday, 6. Friday, 5 games. And Sunday, 5 games. So we will focus on the Monday and Wednesday light nights, as those are your lightest nights earlier in the week. Friday and Sunday will be covered more in-depth. They'll be covered a little bit this episode, but more in-depth in our Weekend Ads episode coming out later this week. And we will also cover all 4 and, of course, 5-game teams that help maximize on games played for you. So we will cover Detroit first, as they do have that rare 5-game week. Then we will cover 4 teams that play 3 of the first 4 nights this week. That way, if you want to jump out to that early lead, grab a player, get 3 games early, drop them, use a player ad that gets 2 games on the weekend, and kind of maximize on your player ads that way. You can potentially get 5 games out of one slot, depending how you use your player ads. And then we will cover the 6 teams that play 3 or more light nights this week. Number of teams having a favorable schedule with those light nights. Then we will cover the remaining Monday teams, then the remaining Wednesday teams, and then we will cover the remaining 4-game teams that don't play on either Monday or Wednesday there. So basically we'll get right into it. Some Detroit options, them having, again, the 5-game week this week. On the back end, maybe look at Ben Sherratt. Owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second pairing there. He has 3 points his last 7 games, so just under half point per game with 17 blocks there. His offense is sporadic. He is kind of hit or miss offensively, but he does get a decent amount of hits and blocks. So with 5 games this week, he could help in some formats for you. Up front, maybe look at Tyler Bertuzzi, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 7 games, 3 of those points being on the power play with 15 shots on goal and 6 blocks in there. He's been good the last couple of weeks here and should be a good streamer this week, having 5 games. Another one up front is David Perron, listed as a right winger, owned in 46% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 5 points his last 5 games, 3 of those being on the power play and 15 shots on goal in those 5 games, so definitely firing the puck on the net there. He's also been on a roll of late, as you can tell there, and should be a good option for your scoring leagues. Another one's Robbie Fabry, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, top power play unit there. It's been pointless the last 2 games, but he put up 10 points the previous 5 games. He was listed day to day, so do check on his status, but he is streaky, but was on quite a roll. With 5 games, he could be worth a roll of the dice if he is available, and depending how deep your league is there. Next one is Pius Suter, listed as center, left winger, and right winger. Do like that you can slot him in any of your forward slots because there will be a few heavy nights in there with it being a 5-game week. Only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Does only play the fourth line though. He has 4 points his last 4 games, and in those 4 games he's +3, also 7 shots on goal. He's on a small role, only gets fourth line minutes, but he could be okay option in your deep leagues. It's where you're gonna leave him. In your standard leagues, you're probably gonna leave him alone because there'll be some better options from Detroit ahead of him there. Now we'll move along to some defensemen that play 3 games in the first 4 nights there. We've already covered Detroit. They're included in this, but we've already covered them. So all of these options do have 4-game weeks this week. Start off in Chicago. Maybe look at Jake McCabe. Owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing there, and he has 5 points his last 8 games, and in those 8 games he's +4 with 19 hits and 17 blocks there. His offense is streaky, but he is getting a nice amount of hits and blocks, so he could help you out in a Cats league early on there. Next one's Eric Brandstrom from Ottawa, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 4 points his last 6 games with 10 shots on goal and 12 blocks there. He's taking advantage of increased opportunity with Sanderson out right now and should be an okay streamer in your deeper leagues, assuming Sanderson is still out most of this week. Now we'll move along to some forwards that play 3 games in 4 nights. Again, we have already covered Detroit there, and all of these options in this segment do have a 4-game week. Start off in Boston, maybe look at Pavel Zacha, listed as center, left winger, right winger, owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit. He has 7 points his last 8 games. In those 8 games, he's +5, also thrown 12 hits in there. He's been fairly consistent the last while and should be a decent streamer early on this week. Another one from Boston is David Krejci, listed as a center, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues. He also plays second line, second power play unit. He has 7 points the last 10 games, so decent amount of offense with 18 shots on goal in those 10 games. He's cooled off some, but he's still getting a decent amount of offense there, so he could be a good streamer in your deeper scoring leagues. Over in Chicago, maybe look at Max Domi, listed as center, left winger, right winger, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing top line, top power play unit. He has 11 points in a 5-game point streak, so really hot right now. And in that 5-game point streak, he has +5, has 13 shots on goal, also blocked 3 shots in there. He's really hot and should be an excellent streamer in your scoring leagues if he's available. Another one in Chicago, maybe look at Tyler Johnson, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing second line. He has 3 points the last 4 games. And in those 4 games, he's +3, 9 shots on goal, and 6 hits in there. He's on a small roll right now, but he is streaky, so risky, but could be okay in your real deep leagues. Another one in Chicago is Cole. I'm not sure if it's Gutman or Gutman, but we'll go with Gutman. Cole Gutman, listed as a center, available everywhere, 0% owned, playing second line for him. He has 2 goals in his last 3 games with 7 shots on goal and a couple of blocks there. He's been not bad since being called up. He's not a lot of runway there, so really is risky, but if you're in a pinch and in a real deep league, he might be an option that might pan out for you. And the last one's over in Ottawa. Look at Shane Pinto, listed as a center, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing second line, second power play unit, and he has 5 points his last 6 games with 10 shots on goal. He's been better of late and should be an all-right streamer in scoring leagues for you. Before we do get to the next segment, do want to ask, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. As it's trying to grow, hopefully you're getting some value out of these episodes, helping secure those wins and strengthening your roster. And that's my own little plug, and we'll get into the next segment there. Some 3 or more light night D-men. Do remember, out of this segment, Vegas plays all 4 light nights. Arizona, Colorado, and Edmonton, they have 4-game weeks, 3 of those games being on light nights, and the rest have 3 games this week, all 3 of those games being on light nights. We'll start off in Arizona. Look at Juuso Velimaki, owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing, top power play unit. He has 8 points his last 8 games. 4 of those points being on the power play. Pretty nice power play production. 15 shots on goal and 14 blocks in there. He's been good for a few weeks, especially that kind of coincides with Chychrun sitting out pending trade, and should be a decent option in your deeper scoring leagues. Another one in Arizona, Shane Gostisbehere, owned in 37% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing second power play unit, and he was having a good year prior to being injured. He just got back this week. Couple of games, couple of goose eggs in there, but we do know what he was before the injury. So with that, hopefully knocking some rust off and should be an all right option for you. Next one in Arizona is JJ Moser, owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 3 points the last 5 games with 8 hits and 5 blocks in there. He is very streaky, but better of late. So in a real deep league, needs to be a real deep league, he could bring you some value there. Over in Colorado, maybe look at Samuel Girard, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 11 points the last 10 games. Couple of those points being on the power play, 22 shots on goal, 11 hits, and 25 blocks. He's really hot and pretty much covering every category there, so he should be almost a must stream if he is available. Next one in Colorado is Bowen Byram, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 5 points his last 5 games, plus 4 in those 5 games, 10 shots on goal, 8 hits, and 10 blocks. He's been good in most Cats there since coming back from injury. Should be a pretty good streamer in a Cats league especially. Over in Anaheim, maybe look at John Klingberg, owned in 37% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 7 points his last 7 games, and in those 7 games he has 13 blocks. He is listed day to day with a lower body injury, so do check on his status to make sure he's available. If he is, he has been better just prior to the injury there, and should be an okay option for you. Another one in Anaheim's Cam Fowler, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues. He plays top pairing, top power play unit, and he has 7 points the last 5 games. In those 5 games, he's plus 3, has 9 blocks in those 5 games. So he's streaky, but he does get you points in bunches, and he's hot right now, so hopefully that bunches kind of spreads into next week for you, so he could be a gamble that pays off in scoring leagues. Another one in Anaheim possibly is Kevin Shattenkirk, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 5 points his last 5 games. In those 5 games, he has 12 shots on goal and 7 blocks in there. He's on a roll of late. He is a little bit risky because he can be pretty streaky there, but he could help in your scoring leagues for you. Next one's in New Jersey. Maybe look at Ryan Graves, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing second pairing for the Devils there. He has 3 points his last 6 games, so half point per game, plus 4 in those 6 games with 14 shots on goal and 15 blocks. His offense is kind of hit or miss, but he will get you shots on goal and blocks for sure. Gets you the odd hit, so he could help in some formats there. We'll move along to some forwards that play 3 games in the first 4 nights. Do remember that Vegas has all 4 light nights, and Arizona, Colorado, and Edmonton, it's 4-game weeks for them. 3 of their 4 games are on light nights, and after that, they're all 3-game week options, all 3 of their games being on light nights there. So we'll start off in Vegas with all 4 light nights. Maybe look at Paul Cotter, listed as center left winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing top line, second power play unit. He has 4 points his last 6 games. And in those 6 games, he's also thrown 22 hits, so he definitely bangs the body around. He's getting a chance on the top line right now, and he's been doing all right. So he is an option for your deep leagues if he's available. Next one is Riley Smith in Vegas there, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, top power play unit. He has 7 points his last 7 games, and in those 7 games, 13 shots on goal, plus 8, 8 hits and 4 blocks in there. He seems to be heating back up, and with that, he should be an okay option for next week. Over in Arizona, maybe look at Nick Schmaltz, listed as center right winger, owned in 35% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, top power play unit for them. He has 14 points his last 11 games, 5 of those points being on the power play, 28 shots on goal, also has 6 blocks, which is a little bit higher than normal for him. He's on a tear and should be a really good streamer in your scoring leagues. There's not much else to say about it. Another one to maybe look at for the Coyotes is Matias Maccelli, listed as a left winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit. He has 6 points his last 5 games, and in those 5 games he's +3, couple points on the power play, and 4 blocks in there. He can be kind of hot and cold, but he is hot of late, so he might be worth the risk in your deeper leagues. For Colorado, maybe look at JT Compher, listed as center right winger, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, second power play unit there. He has 8 points the last 5 games, so pretty good there. 13 shots on goal and 9 blocks. He's been on a roll of late and should be an alright option, especially with that condensed schedule early on. Next one's over in Anaheim. Look at Frank Vatrano, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing third line, second power play unit there. He has 11 points in the last 12 games. Couple of those points being on the power play with 44 shots on goal and 13 blocks. He's been fairly good for a bit now and could be okay in your deeper leagues. Over in Carolina, maybe look at Seth Jarvis, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 25% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top line, second power play unit. He has 6 points his last 3 games played, +7, 10 shots on goal. He was really hot last week. He can be streaky, but playing top line, getting some power play time, he should be a good option for your scoring leagues. Another one in Carolina's Teuvo Teravainen, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 60% of Yahoo leagues. Playing second line, top power play unit. He has 6 points his last 7 games. 3 of those 6 points being on the power play and 21 shots on goal in those 7 games. He's been fairly consistent and should be an alright option for your scoring leagues. Next one in Carolina is Jesperi Kotkaniemi, listed as center left winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit, and he has 7 points the last 7 games. Also thrown 8 hits in those 7 games. So he's been producing of late. He has been kind of hot and cold there, so he could be an okay option in your deeper scoring leagues. Last one's over in New Jersey. Look at Dawson Mercer, listed as center right winger, owned in 20% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top line, second power play unit there. And he has 7 goals and 2 assists for 9 points in a 5-game point streak there. So definitely putting the biscuit in the basket of late. In those 5 games, he's also +4, has 20 shots on goal and 4 blocks. He's been really hot and pretty much a must stream if he is available. Next is remaining Monday, which is Vancouver only, because we've already covered Anaheim, Chicago, Boston, Edmonton, Vegas, Colorado, Dallas, Detroit, and Ottawa. So the only one that we haven't covered yet's been Vancouver. So some Canucks options on the back end. Maybe look at Ethan Bear. Available everywhere, 0% owned. Playing on the top pairing there. He has points in 3 straight right now with 7 shots on goal and 5 blocks in those 3 games. He's on a smaller role. He definitely is risky. He not known for his offense there, but points in 3 straight. So in your deep leagues on a light night, you might be able to squint and maybe take a chance on him there. Up front, maybe look at Anthony Beauvillier, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 8 points the last 7 games, 3 of those 8 points being on the power play and 19 shots on goal there. He's enjoying the opportunity in Vancouver there, definitely getting some better opportunities than he was for the Islanders, and with that, he should be a decent streamer in your scoring leagues. Another one for Vancouver is Andrei Kuzmenko, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 5 games, and in those 5 games, +3, 14 shots on goal. He's on a heater and he gets points in bunches. When he's hot, he's really hot, and he should be a great option on a light night if he is available. Next one in Vancouver is Brock Besser, listed as a right winger, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there. He has 2 points the last 6 games, but before that he put up 7 points the previous 4 games. So he is streaky, but he does get you points in bunches. So he could be worth the gamble depending on your league and how it's formatted there. So now we'll move along to some remaining Wednesday D-men. Out of these teams, do note the Rangers and Toronto have a 3-game week. Washington and Philly have 2-game weeks. And we've already covered Anaheim, Dallas, Arizona, Vegas, Carolina, New Jersey, Colorado, and Edmonton. Those teams also play on Wednesday, but we've already covered them. So we'll start off with the Rangers. Look at Keandre Miller, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues. He plays second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 5 points his last 8 games. And in those 8 games, he has 19 hits and 12 blocks in there. His offense has been streaky of late, but overall his Cats are pretty good, so he should be an alright streamer in a Cats league. Over in Washington, maybe look at Eric Gustafson. Owned in 43% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing third pairing top power play unit. That might have changed with the Orlov trade. Haven't seen updated pairings yet. But he has 8 points his last 8 games. And in those 8 games, he has 4 power play points, 19 shots on goal, and 10 blocks in there. He's hot again and should be a really good option in your scoring leagues. Over in Philly, maybe look at Rasmus Ristolainen. Owned in 13% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing for the Flyers there. He has 7 points the last 11 games, so decent amount of offense for a D-man. And in those 11 games, he has 26 hits and 19 blocks. It's been not bad for a while, and with the hits and blocks, he should definitely help in your deeper Cats leagues. Now we'll move along to some remaining Wednesday forwards. Remember again, out of these options, the Rangers and Toronto have 3-game weeks. Washington and Philly have 2-game weeks. And the rest of the teams we've already covered, them being Anaheim, Dallas, Arizona, Vegas, Carolina, New Jersey, Colorado, and Edmonton. So we'll start off with the Rangers again. Maybe look at Alexis Lafreniere. Listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, second power play unit, and he has 6 points his last 9 games, so decent amount of offense, 17 shots on goal, also has 22 hits in those 9 games and 5 blocks in there. He's been okay the last little while and should be an okay option in your deeper Cats leagues. Another one for the Rangers is Philip Chittle, listed as center right winger, owned in 34% of Yahoo leagues. He plays third line, second power play unit there, and he has 9 points the last 11 games, so pretty good amount of offense, 33 shots on goal, definitely fires the puck on net there. He's cooled some, but was really hot not that long ago, so he should be an okay option in your scoring leagues. Over in Toronto, maybe look at the new addition, Ryan O'Reilly, listed as a center, up to 59% owned. Amazing what a hat trick will do for your ownership. Plays second line, second power play unit there. He has 5 points his last 3 games with 8 shots on goal, 30 face-off wins. Definitely knows how to win a draw if those are counted in your league. Obviously seems to be fitting in nicely in Toronto. He gets good line mates in Marner and Tavares there, so he should be a good streamer this week if he is available. Over in Washington, maybe look at Tom Wilson, listed as a right winger, owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing on the top line for the Capitals there. He has 2 points his last 3 games. One of those points being on the power play with 9 shots on goal and 11 hits in there. He's been good since coming back, small sample size, but for the most part we know with Wilson what we're going to get, so he should help you in a Cats league if you do decide to stream him. Over in Philly, maybe look at Noah Cates, listed as center left winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing top line for Philly there. He has 4 points his last 4 games with 4 blocks in those 4 games. He is streaky but on a small roll right now, so he may be worth the risk on a light night in your deeper leagues. Next one in Philly, Scott Lawton, listed as center left winger, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing top line, top power play unit, and he has 6 points the last 9 games. And in those 9 games, he has 19 shots on goal, 12 hits, and 8 blocks in there. Really nice amount of blocks for a forward there. He's been not bad, not great the last little bit here, but he should be okay in a deeper Cats league for you. So now we'll move along to some remaining D-men that don't play on Monday or Wednesday. Start off in Montreal. Look at Michael Matheson, owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit, and he has 7 points the last 7 games. And in those 7 games, he's +6, couple points on the power play, 11 hits, and 13 blocks there. He's been pretty good the last few weeks there. Plus minus will hurt a bit being in Montreal, but he should be an all-right option for you. Another one in Montreal, maybe look at Jordan Harris, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing for the Habs, second pairing for the Habs there. He has 4 points the last 5 games, and in those 5 games, he has 8 shots on goal, 6 hits, and 10 blocks. He is kind of hit and miss offensively there, but if you're in a real deep league, he could be an option for you. Next one's over in Tampa Bay. Maybe look at Nick Perbix. 0% owned, so available everywhere. Playing on the second pairing. He has 6 points in the last 9 games there. But do remember, all 6 of those points were in 2 3-point games there. So he is real feast or famine there. So only use in a real deep league and if you're in a pinch. We'll finish it off with some remaining 4-game forwards that don't play on Monday or Wednesday. And start off in Montreal again. Look at Raphael Harvey-Pinard, listed as a left winger, owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit. And he has 9 points the last 9 games. And in those 9 games, he's +6. Couple points on the power play there, 16 shots on goal, 16 hits, 17 blocks. He's been really good since being called up and should be a fairly good option for you in a Cats league especially. Over in Seattle, maybe look at Matty Beniers, listed as a center, owned in 38% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 6 points his last 4 games. Couple of those points being on the power play and 7 shots on goal in those 4 games. He seems like he's really hot and cold. He does get you points in bunches, and he's hot at the moment, so you should get some value out of him if you decide to stream him this week. Next one's Jared McCann, listed as center left winger, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues, plays in that top line in Seattle there and top power play unit. He has points in 6 of the last 7 games. Couple points on the power play there and 17 shots on goal in those 7 games. He's been consistent and should be a nice option with 4 games this week. Another one in Seattle's Eli Tolvanen, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing third line up on the top power play unit there. He has 8 points the last 12 games, and in those 12 games has 27 shots on goal and 6 blocks in there. He has been good in Seattle, been pretty good pretty much since he got there, and in deeper leagues should be a good streaming option for you. Over in Tampa, maybe look at Anthony Chiarelli, listed as center left winger, owned in 17% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line for Tampa there. He has 8 points his last 7 games, and in those 7 games he's +4, 16 shots on goal and 4 blocks. He is a little streaky, but he has been better of late, so with that he should help in some formats for you. The last one in Tampa is Alex Killorn, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 25% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit, and he has 7 points the last 7 games with 7 hits in there. Kind of 7-7-7. Good slot machine stats there. But all 7 points have come in 3 multi-point games, so he could be kind of love-hate, where you're either going to love him if he gets that multi-point game or hate him if he throws you a bagel there. But he could be a gamble that pays off for you. That's it for today's episode. If you're watching via YouTube, please remember to hit like, hit subscribe. Remember that notification bell. If you're listening via podcast, don't forget to hit follow, hit subscribe. Give us a 5-star review depending what platform you're watching it on there. Don't forget to check out www.247clash.com. Use referral code LTC as that'll help us out behind the scenes there. Good luck there, fantasy owners, and we'll talk to you soon.